Welcome to today's vlog. It's a hot one today. It's about 30 degrees. Hottest day of the year so far. I'm out in it sort of mid-afternoon, late afternoon now, so it's still very hot. And this vlog is all about a comment that I made on a Facebook post. You may have seen in one of my previous vlogs that I was at a poppy field, and I got some nice images from there and I posted them on my local village's Facebook page. To which someone replied and said, "Great, lovely pictures. Do you need a special camera for these type of shots?" i.e. DSLR, I assume she meant. So I replied and I said, well, smartphones are coming along. I mean, they're very good nowadays, but really and truly, if you want to get these type of shots, you are going to need either a DSLR or a mirrorless that has something that has interchangeable lenses and something that you can put in full manual mode. And it got me thinking, do I actually need those? I mean, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but do I need those to get those type of shots? So I've come back to the same poppy field, and all I have with me today, apart from my vlogging gear, is this, which is my mobile phone. And I'm going to try and replicate the shots that I took the other night with my phone and see if you can get those sort of shots with a smartphone nowadays. That's the plan of the vlog, that's the idea. We'll see where we go. So I'm going to get on with it and yeah, see if I can get those shots. So we're in pretty much the exact same spot that I was when I was here last time. I'm going to try and replicate the three types of shots that I took last time, which, just to refresh your memory, are the blurred, isolated out poppies with blurred backgrounds and hopefully blurred foregrounds. Some wide angle shots of the poppies looking up to the sky above, and then over the back. Obviously I'm not going to get the sunset, but the shot across the poppy field with the sea of poppies and the horizon in the background. So the only things I'm going to use for this shoot are my iPhone, which is an iPhone 8 Plus. I'm going to use the native software on it for the camera, and in addition to that I'm also going to use an app which I purchased from the App Store called ProCam. I bought it a few months back. I can't remember how much it was, about £6. I'm not sponsored by ProCam. And the other thing I've got are some little clip-on lenses because obviously the two things that the iPhone or smartphones have a disadvantage over cameras are the fact that they have a fixed aperture and they have a fixed focal length. So these clip-on lenses I've got the ones that basically make it a wide angle or a wider angle lens. So that said, let's try the first shot, and that is trying to isolate out a poppy and get some blurred foregrounds and blurred backgrounds. So for this first shot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the phone's native camera app, and I'm actually going to put it in portrait mode. And I believe what happens in portrait mode is that the camera itself uses the two lenses that it has, because the iPhone 8 and the iPhone X have two actual lenses on the back of the camera, and I think what it does is it focuses with the smaller one and then takes a shot simultaneously with the other one, which blurs out any background. So this is perfect for the first type of shot I want to get, which is the blurred foreground and blurred background and isolated poppy in the middle. So let's find ourselves a poppy to take a photo of. I think these ones look quite nice down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in on these, touch the screen to get the focus on the poppy I want, and just isolate that out. That's not half bad. When I got home and took a look at these in Lightroom, I could see that actually the software did a pretty poor job working out which bits to blur and which bits to keep in focus. It's probably a very good app when it comes to blurring out backgrounds when you're taking portraits of people, because you've got a huge solid mass that you can actually distinguish between the foreground and the background. But with these intricate pictures of the poppies, it seemed to miss the stems out an awful lot, and in this case where it's just taken, literally just got the poppy head in focus, it did work once or twice. This is an example, but in general it was the results were pretty poor. Obviously I didn't know this at the time, and on the back of the phone screen it looked quite good. You'll see the results of that before I do, but looking on the phone screen, that looks alright actually. I think I've got some really nice blurred background. I don't think the phone's at all capable of shooting through, simply because I think at that focal length you can't really blur out the foreground unless you're massively close up, in which case you're too close because it's completely obscuring the whole of the tiny lens. So it's not going to work for shooting through and getting the hues in the foreground, but in terms of blurring out the background with the portrait mode, it looks alright, I think. Can't say, go away man, seriously, leave me alone. Please leave me alone, please. Sod off. Bees, honestly, there's not beetles, it's bees. So for shot 2, I'm going to use the ProCam app that's on the phone, and I'm also going to use this clip-on wide angle lens, super wide angle. I can tell you now, it's not the most expensive of lenses. I can also tell you that it's looking soft around the edges, so it's not going to be the best of shots, but for these test purposes here, this is all we really want to find out. We just want to know whether it's capable of taking the shots. I can't remember, I think I got a super wide angle fisheye and macro lens in a little set, and it was about £30 off of Amazon. So not going to be the best of quality, but that's not what it's for. So let's give it a go. We'll hook up the ProCam, or fire up the ProCam on the iPhone, and we'll try and get some of those worm's eye view shots. So I found a bit of shade here, it's quite hot. Jury's out on that one. I'm not 100% sure. Again, like I said, the lens isn't the most expensive in the world, but I felt like I didn't have the same control over the shot as I did with the DSLR. That might be because I'm just not used to using a phone to take those shots, but the fact that I can't zoom in or out, the fact that I've got a fixed focal length makes it difficult, because when you're composing a shot, you often use your focal length to get exactly what you want. And when you have a fixed focal length, like on the phone, it's very difficult because you find yourself moving the phone backwards and forwards to try and achieve the look that you want. And I think maybe it's a little bit chaotic, and not necessarily chaotic, but not quite as precise as I'd like it, not quite as precise as I find it when I've got a camera. So for that type of shot, jury's out. Maybe with a really good super wide angle lens and a bit of practice, I might find that shot easy to take. I'm getting used to them now. So yes, jury's out on that one. Okay, so again, move around to the top, exactly the same place that I was last time, these little discoloured poppies here. I'm going to try and replicate the shots that I took. One was a 3-shot panorama and one was a portrait shot looking down to the setting sun. Obviously the sun is not setting today, it's right up in the sky. So it's going to be a different type of lighting today. Not going to get that soft light of the setting sun or the beautiful golden things, quite harsh. But again, that's not why we're here. We're here to see if we can replicate those shots on a DSLR using a smartphone. So I'm going to go back to the camera's native app on this one, and I'm going to shoot the panorama with the panorama app on the actual camera, which will cut out all the hassle of me needing to stitch it, and we'll see how that one works. And then after that, I'll go back to the ProCam app and just shoot a portrait and try not to get stung by about 15 swarming bees. Oh my God. Okay. So how did we do there? I don't know for sure, but I'm going to say we struggled. We certainly struggled with the portrait shot simply because the focal length of the camera is just not long enough to get the type of shot that you're looking for there, where you're getting a lot more focus on the poppies. It's pushing the background too far away, and the poppies are too small in the image, so it isn't going to work. I can tell you that now without looking. I will say the other drawback as well that you've got with using the native app is that it doesn't shoot RAW, it shoots JPEG, which means that when you get it back to post-processing, you lose a lot of the data. Not too bad probably in situations like this. It probably controls the exposure quite well, but I'd imagine in quite low light you're going to lose a lot of the shadows. The ProCam app does give you the option to shoot RAW, but then it doesn't give you the option to shoot portrait, and it doesn't give you, like with the blurred backgrounds, and it doesn't give you the option to do a pano, so you'd have to stitch your own panos together, which I guess isn't too bad if you've actually brought a tripod with you. So yeah, so overall, can you take the same shots with a smartphone that you can with a DSLR? To a point, yes you can. Yes, you can take that shot. Will it be as good? I'm going to say no. DSLR gives you more control, allows you to control the focal length, allows you to control the aperture, and allows you to have more control over the shot that you want to get, whereas I think that's taken away even with an iPhone or a smartphone, even having a specialist app. There's nothing you can do about the focal length, there's nothing you can do about the aperture. You are limited with those. Do you need to buy a DSLR to take decent shots? No, certainly not. You don't need to buy a DSLR or a mirrorless to take decent shots. You could take some really nice shots on your iPhone, but I would say that once you get to a point where you feel like you're reaching a ceiling with what you can do and you want to move on, then it's time to move on and buy yourself a DSLR. Anyway, from me and the swarming bees, it's goodbye. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, then please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and you want to, then please do. And any comments you make are welcome, positive or negative, as long as they're constructive, and I will try and answer every single one. So until next time, bye.